Welcome back to our celebration of 100 years of dream deals from Vauxhall. Still to come in part 2, I'm let loose in a car that started the next 100 years, the fabulous VX220. But first, let's pick up where we left off with our history of Vauxhall. In 1975, the HC Viva was eventually replaced by this, the Vauxhall Chevette, the first hatchback made by Vauxhall, indeed the first truly British hatchback at all. Now this car wasn't just loved by families but the sporting fraternity too, because this car won a veritable hatful of racing and rallying titles. 1975 also saw the launch of one of the most successful British-made cars ever, the Vauxhall Cavalier, although production didn't come here to Luton until 1977. And with a range that included a coupe and 3 saloons, including this 1980 GLS, the car soon zoomed into the top 10 sales league in the UK. After the lean years in the 70s, Vauxhall's fortunes picked up in the next decade when the company's first front-wheel drive car hit the forecourts, the Astra. Available as both a hatchback and a saloon, the car was to prove the perfect platform for a whole new generation of modified car boy racers, a generation that would love to get their hands on this, the latest in the line of Astras. Now there are still some Mark I Astras out there ripe for modification. Whilst the Astra was a small car breakthrough, even smaller was still to come, with, in 1983, the launch of the Vauxhall Nova. Originally offered as a 2-door saloon or coupe, it came with a range of engines from 1 litre to 1.3. But Vauxhall hadn't forgotten big and beefy machines. The Lotus Carlton was a great car, but fleet sales were aware of where Vauxhall was making its bread and butter money from. In fact, one huge order in 1987 was from Thorn EMI for 20,000 cars. I wish I was the salesman for that order, which totalled about £160 million. Do you think he got a cut?
Yeah, fleet sales have been very important to Vauxhall, indeed any mass manufacturer. In fact, I was fleet sales director at the time of the first Cavalier, which was the great breakthrough into fleet sales. And what it means is that these people are buying thousands of cars using their own money, and they want to buy cars that are reliable, are good looking, are economical, and just as really the same as the man in the street. So you could say, and I would say, that the fleet operator is probably the ultimate customer. He's the person that has got more requirements of a car across the board than anyone else. And if you can succeed in that market, then you have got a very good motor car. And I believe that's exactly what Vauxhall did. We made the best of its type in that particular era. We'll carry on doing that now. And of course, fleet sales remain important, but you know, they're not everything. You also have to balance the needs of the customer who now wants a very exciting brand as well. And again, I think Vauxhall have succeeded.
In the summer of 1990, a new sporty coupe was unveiled to the waiting world, the Calibra. Based on the Cavalier, it clearly had far sleeker lines than your standard rep mobile, yet was just as practical, with acres of space inside. And because it was popular with reps, there are plenty of them about. Now it's 1994, and Vauxhall eventually replaced the ageing Senator and Carlton models with this, the Omega. General Motors, Vauxhall and Opel spent shed loads of cash in this car's development, and although it's a pretty reliable executive cruiser, unfortunately it never really set the world on fire. Which is great news for you if your dream deal will be a top-of-the-range Vauxhall with loads of kit for your money. Now, when Vauxhall launched their Frontiera into an already crowded 4x4 market, they realised that to be taken seriously, a pretty impressive stunt really needed to be pulled. Remember the Prince Henry, the world's first sports car? Well, in March 2000, Vauxhall launched this, the VX220, which, if you ask me, makes this the Prince Henry for the 21st century. This car has excitement built in, and it's not just a reworked Lotus Elise, and it's won accolades and fans across Europe, including, you guessed it, one big-eared Mancunian. Shall we? In this car you get a superb 2.2 litre 4-cylinder engine putting out 130 odd brake horsepower. Now it might not sound like much, but this car weighs less than 400 kilograms. It really is all about speed and cornering. It's seriously lightweight too, and it feels seriously lightweight when you're driving it. All of the fibre composite body panels, the aluminium chassis, all add up to a really light car that is all about function. And the function on this car is about going fast around corners. It's a car made for the racetrack. It's just wonderful. Now, the styling of this car isn't to everyone's taste by any means. In an age where curves and smooth lines are in, the rather angular and awkward VX220 really is striking on the road. It's very different, it stands out. Even more so if you get it in bright banana yellow. The steering, suspension, gearbox, acceleration are all lightning quick. The responses of this car are just incredible. There's never a moment's delay. Whenever you want to call upon a gear, get the engine to go, get the car to stop, it all happens like that.
And so, with the new Vectra snapping at the heels of the Mondeo, that brings us about up to date. But what about the future for Vauxhall? Peter Hope of Vauxhall's development division tells us a little about what Vauxhall has in store for us.
The Meriva is a new small people carrier. It's a 5-seater people carrier, and really it fits below the Zafira in our vehicle range. The clever thing about Meriva, rather like its big brother Zafira, is the way the interior works. The seating system in Meriva takes a system we call Flex Space, and basically it's a design of seating configuration that gives huge amounts of flexibility. The seats can slide fore and aft, they can slide sideways, they can fold away completely into the floor, so you never have to take the seats out of the vehicle to give you lots of space. And the great thing about it, if you're a family person, is that it means you can literally configure the interior of the car as you need it to give you the right amount of legroom, the right amount of space between your kids to stop them squabbling on a long journey. And from the research we've done with families, it really does meet a need. Family cars have not been family friendly in the past, and Meriva really is one of the first new cars that really does meet the needs of 21st century families. Signum is in a different sector. Signum is our new entry into the executive car market, and the executive car market has traditionally been focused on big saloon cars, and Signum again tries to do something quite different. It's got an extremely long wheelbase, and again we've used that extra space to create essentially limousine-like comfort in the rear. So the rear seating, in comparison with a conventional saloon car, is vastly superior, much more legroom. I mean, the car has as much legroom as a Mercedes S-Class, and yet it's much shorter. The seats slide, recline. The whole of the rear interior is designed with aircraft-style overhead console, so there's lots of space, lots of versatility. There's in-car DVD players that can slot into the centre section. It can be converted into a mobile office. It really is a very versatile body style.
Well, we're nearly out of time. I think we've clearly established that 100 years ago the engineers at the Vauxhall Ironworks were right to do away with the tiller steering arm, and it does make you wonder what cars are going to be like over the next 100 years. Still, that's all we've got time for now. We'll see you next time on Dream Deals.